Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Brad Sugden. If you haven't noticed, this is Brad Sugden Weather LLC. I've started my own business, and with my experience, a lot of television news in my background, we are still going to do a winter weather outlook because they're fun, they're informative, and it's different because I'm not in TV. I don't have to follow the TV format anymore. We can get the good stuff out of the way. If you want to stick around, please do. We're going to have fun facts. We're going to teach you about new warnings that are coming out this year that you haven't heard of yet, most likely. And we're going to just have a lot of fun with this. And we're going to talk, of course, about snow and what it can look like. I have a snow sponsor now. They are the official snow sponsor for all the big snow maps, all the things like that. Generator Magic, of course, they have all the generator parts you'll need. They're based out of Waterford, so it's a local Michigan company. They ship anywhere, so really good people, and I'm so grateful. Thank you to them for sponsoring me and for sponsoring everything we got going on here. So I want to start off with a snow the fact. Get the little play on words there. All right, so number one, easy. All snowflakes have 6 sides. Pretty neat, right? I don't know. Maybe you knew that. Maybe you didn't. But that's what we're going for. So here's how we're going to start this off. How do you even make a winter outlook, right? What exactly goes into this? Are you just pulling things out of your rear? Not really. Some forecasts, they can only go so far, but there are certain things we look at to give you a better idea of what we can expect. So one of those things I look at is called the ENSO pattern, and this is really simple. It's a complicated, long word. I won't go into it, but it's basically, are we in La Nina or El Nino? Last year we were in an El Nino. I'm sure you know that we had 12 days of winter. That's literally all we got. So El Nino is the warmer one. La Nina, typically the cooler one, not always, but just for the simplicity of it, El Nino warm, La Nina cool. Now, I also look at climate data. We have to know what goes on here, right? We have to know what's happened in the past. What are the Great Lakes capable of? What are the storm systems capable of? How does the terrain around Michigan work? The water, things like that. We also look at weather patterns because, of course, El Nino, La Nina, that affects the jet stream. Jet stream, pretty big player in how the atmosphere works, right? So I'm sure everybody knows that. You've heard of the jet stream before because it's a big influence. It is a tube of fast-moving air. Usually what drives storm systems also can separate warm and cold air. A dip in the jet stream brings cold air down. Jet stream goes really far to the north, it gets really warm outside. Easy enough. Also, we have to look at historical data. What has happened before? If we have a model putting out 97 inches of snow for one snowstorm, well, we can see that that's never happened before, and that model is probably full of crap, right? So it's very important to keep all that stuff in mind. And then, of course, the potential for extremes. We are in a changing world. The climate is changing. It's not up for debate. It's happening. There's data to back it up. So therefore, we have to look at the potential for extremes and how that plays into our forecast, and the extremes are happening. So here is La Nina and ENSO. What exactly is La Nina? I kind of gave it away a little while ago. Cooler temperatures in the equatorial Pacific Ocean that influence global weather patterns. Now, that sounded like, really out of the book, right? It is basically the area along the equator. We look to see if the water is warmer than it should be or colder than it should be. That's it. That's what that complicated sentence meant. Now, this can influence the jet stream pattern, thus impacting weather patterns, not just for us, but really around the globe. Now, La Nina is very weak this year. In fact, we're not even technically in La Nina yet. It is that weak. It's actually still technically a neutral phase, which means it's not being influenced one way or the other by El Nino or La Nina. But we do need to look at the oceans because as a whole, the planet is warming and all the ocean's heat content is rising. That played a factor in the hurricanes this year. It also, believe it or not, the Gulf of Mexico being so warm was a contributor to why it was so humid in Michigan. There's just more moisture going on. So I circled this, and this might be a little hard to see, but I will explain it. The bottom left corner, that's Australia. The blob on the right, that is South America. So we're looking at the equator across the whole Pacific Ocean from Australia to South America. And you see the little hint of blue in the middle? That's what we're picking on for some below average water. But notice there's above average water mixed in, and everywhere outside of that circle, just about, is also above average. So we have to look into that as well. Here's the average. This is where it gets a little complicated. I can look at the average departure from normal over the course of a month. So we're a little bit below average, but again, there's some above average in there. It's just not a slam dunk is what I'm trying to say. I did go back and look at the years where we had weak La Ninas, and notice there was 2012, 2018. Now, from Michigan, if you remember 2012, you probably remember March when it was like 85 degrees the whole month of March, right? That was during a La Nina year. 2018 was also pretty warm. Now, El Nino typically means warm, but I just want to show you that nothing is written in stone with any of this. But we get general ideas, and then in terms of percent chances, that's, where we go. So this is looking forward over the course of about the next 9 months. We take 3-month averages. So the OND means October, November, December. NDJ, November, December, January, so on and so forth, right? So notice we're kind of tilting into the blue La Nina, because remember I said blue is colder, La Nina colder, and then the gray is the neutral phase. So we're still technically in the neutral phase now, even though this model predicted that there was better chances of a La Nina. So we're going to say that there might be a weak La Nina, but honestly, I'm not really getting my hopes up either way. So I'm going to go for neutral conditions this year. Typical La Nina pattern is we generally see the jet stream ride to the north by Alaska. Therefore, it dips down over the eastern part of the United States, kind of puts us on the storm track. But again, I'm not really anticipating La Nina to be that much of a factor for us this year. So I do want to start out with the National Weather Service Winter Outlook. And they have kind of bought into the La Nina thing. This comes from the Climate Prediction Center, which is just a, derivative or little subsidy of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. And they kind of have the storm system thing going too. We got the below average to the north, warmer than average down to the south, especially in the desert southwest, Texas, and Florida. And we're kind of in the middle, maybe slightly leaning to the warmer side. And we'll talk about that here in just a moment. We do have decent odds, though, of being above average in terms of precip. Now, this does not exactly mean snow. It means precip. So whatever falls from the sky, rain, snow, sleet, ice, all of that coupled together. So this is a little complicated, but we're going to explain it. Now notice that we have these two lines. You can see that there's like a yellow, a black, a red, and then this like faint pink line, right? So what we're looking for is the difference between the black and the red. Black is average, red is the forecast departure from average. So here, notice the parentheses that say Southern Michigan up at the top. It's right below all those pink letters. You have Climate Division 23, parentheses, Southern Michigan. So this is for areas like Detroit, Flint, Lansing, Grand Rapids. We have a very slightly, maybe warmer than average thing going on here. Now, look at those parentheses again. It's below the pink letters. And this is for north central Michigan. So we're talking northern lower, of course, mid Michigan. They're pretty much touching. So that's why the graphic that the National Weather Service issued, it was equal chances, because it's not really leaning one way or the other. And equal chances means it could be average, it could be above, it could be a below. There's equal chances of all three of those things happening. Same thing for upper Michigan. This is the UP. So, the national people call it Upper Michigan. We call it the UP. But there you go. Now, this is really different, right? Look at the parentheses below the pink letters at the top there. Central Florida. So for you snowbirds, there is a real good shot that it's going to be above average for the winter season, which is December, January, February. That's a big gap, from the black to the red. That is a big gap. Then we go to Las Vegas, because I have some subscribers, some family members that go down to Vegas, Arizona. There is a decent shot at above average conditions there as well. So without further ado, here is my outlook. And if you watch me at ABC 12 in Flint, I did 4 of these outlooks for the winter. So I'm kind of following that format again, because I can't really put out specific snow totals statewide. We're a very diverse state. Average snow varies by like 150 inches. So here's what we're going for. Overall, I do think temperatures will be warmer than average. And not because of El Nino or La Nina, because the climate is warming up. The Great Lakes are record warm. Even with the cold burst that we're seeing now in early December, it's going to take a while for them to cool off. So I am leaning for the temperatures overall to be above average. Now, that's considering ups and downs. You're going to have warm days, you're going to have cold days. We're still going to get cold outbursts, we're still going to have warm days. But when you average those together over the 3 months of winter, I do think we're going to lean slightly above. Over to the next one here, so that's why I'm covering this up with my camera. This is just precipitation. Remember what I said earlier, snow, rain, sleet, ice. I think that overall we are going to be wetter than average, whether it is snow or rain. But then breaking it down into snow, this is where you got to get a little creative in the state of Michigan. I don't foresee the fact that we are going to get slammed with lake effect snow all season long to the point it'll be above average. I think we get these early season intense snowbursts because, like I said, climate change is all about extremes. Record warm water and then a very cold outburst. It's just the perfect recipe for explosive lake effect snow. But remember, water will eventually cool down throughout the season, and we're going to have more typical lake effect snow conditions, not these insane 3, 4, 5, 6 feet events. We're not going to see those all winter long. Now, system snow, because the storm systems are becoming more powerful. Therefore, I think one or two of these can easily blow everything out of the water. And just like I've seen in my last 6 years of being in the state again, after being born and raised here, I traveled the country and came back. But those 6 years, there has been some big snowstorms, and we have seen an uptick in some seasonal snow totals, mainly from system snow. In those areas, especially Flint, when we got the new averages in, it went up 5 inches. So I'm going to lean more system snow for certain areas, but less lake effect snow for other areas. Again, there's a lot of nuances here, but that is generally what I'm going for. So I am following kind of the storm track here. I do think, unfortunately, it's going to be kind of a sloppy winter. We're going to have rain turn to snow with a lot of our storm systems. And then I do think we're going to melt a lot of the snow in between storm systems as well, just from it being warmer. So anyway, when the storms go over the Great Lakes, you get warmer conditions to the south, colder conditions to the north. Look over at the pink areas, though, in the northeast. I do think if we have strong nor'easters develop, which is a possibility, that could kick in some lake effect snow for us, but that's not a given. So, again, we got to take it with a grain of salt. But here's what I'm looking at. Generally warmer than average, wetter than average in terms of all precip, and then less than average lake effect snow, but more system snow. And you know where you're at. You know if you are prone to lake effect, you know if you're not, system snow, etc. So that is the end of my first segment here. We're going to do Snow the Facts number 2. Snow crystals are clear, not white. The white coloring is caused by the sunlight that is reflected off the crystals. All visible colors are reflected, which together look white. Just like black is the absence of color, white is all the colors. So next time you look out and see snow outside, which is like right now, just know that that's actually clear, but it's reflecting light, which makes it look white. Pretty fun stuff here. Okay, we're going to take a look at my sponsor, and we will be right back.
Generator Magic is your one-stop destination for genuine Generac generator replacement parts and a level of service that sets us apart from the competition. We are proud to be a unique presence in the generator replacement part space, offering an unparalleled commitment to authenticity, efficiency, and affordability. With an extensive inventory of over 100,000 Generac parts, we have a solution for virtually every generator need. Whether you're a professional in the generator repair industry or a homeowner seeking reliable power during outages, we have you covered with an extensive catalog of authentic replacement parts. Generator Magic is your...
All right, cool stuff there, right? So let's take a look at Snow the Facts number 3. Most snowflakes fall at a speed of 2 to 5 feet per second, which is roughly the same speed as a person casually walking through the store. Maybe not the slowest person in the store that you will inevitably get stuck behind, but a normal person walking through the store, 2 to 5 feet per second. So kind of cool stuff there. Okay, let's talk about those new warnings that I was telling you about. We are no longer going to have wind chill watches or wind chill warnings. They are gone forever. Sayonara. What we're going to have now is straight up cold is cold, danger is danger. The goal here was for the National Weather Service. They said we just need to simplify it. Forget all this wind chill nonsense. We're going to call it cold. So here's what we got. Extreme cold watch and extreme cold warning. I like to think of watches as I have binoculars and I'm watching for it. Where is it? I know it's coming. Warning means, oh my gosh, my face hurts. My tears are freezing. My boogers are freezing. It's here. Oh my God. So watch, we're watching for it. Warning, my boogers are freezing. Got it? Okay, good. Let's keep going. So no more wind chill watches or warnings, extreme cold watch, extreme cold warning. And this is actually regardless of wind. It's just for cold air temperatures. It's for extreme wind chills, all that kind of stuff. I will break it down for you so you understand. Don't worry. So make sure you keep following me. But bottom line is, whether it's the wind chill or air temperature, extreme cold is dangerous. Take it seriously, period. Thank you. Have a nice day. Move on. So let's talk about the other warnings. These ones I'm sure you've heard before. We have blizzard warnings, winter storm warnings, and winter weather advisories. The most severe is blizzard warning because this one actually threatens life and property. Blizzards, zero visibility, dangerous travel, if not impossible, just really bad conditions. Now, winter storm warning means, okay, it's bad out there, but it's just not as life threatening as a blizzard. You're still looking at wind, cold, snow, all that stuff. A winter weather advisory is like, okay, you can still go do stuff. It's just not going to be fun. You're going to have a much slower commute. It's going to be annoying. Oh my gosh, just be advised there's some white annoyingness coming your way, right? Winter storm warning, you should probably cancel your plans. Blizzard warning, for sure, nothing's going on. Easiest way to explain that. So again, watches, warnings, watching out for it. Warning, ice is going in your eyeballs. We're watching for it coming. Warning, snow is in your eyes. Okay, so that's a good way to explain it. Now, what exactly is a blizzard? Well, it's blowing snow, 35-mile-per-hour winds or higher, a quarter-mile visibility, and these conditions must be continuous for 3 hours or more. So that's why we say blizzard conditions sometimes, because you could get a quick gust of wind driving down the road. You can't see anything for a few minutes, but then it goes away. That's not a blizzard, but it is blizzard conditions, or, some scattered whiteouts, things like that. So, there you go. Now, explaining the warnings in terms of why the wind is so dangerous in the wintertime, your body wants to warm up everything around it. Think about a blanket, right? That's your body heat under there. That's why you're warm under a blanket. You take the blanket off and you blow some wind over you, it feels substantially colder, right? So what you're doing with the wind is you're removing that blanket of warm air, and then you freeze and get frostbite. You can get hypothermia. The wind just makes it extra dangerous. It takes off that layer of protection that your body wants to create around it. So I put this in here. I don't really believe in telling people how to dress for the weather. If it's super cold outside, you probably should, use this. Dress normally, right? Right. Okay. Don't forget about your pets. I know there are some breeds that are hardy outside, but there are still a lot of dangers with pets. Even some of those ones that you think are hardy might not withstand minus 60, if you know what I mean. Even animals outside, cold kills. You get a severe cold outbreak and you will kill animals outside. It just happens, So don't forget your pets, please. They're not immune to this because they have fur. Just be a human and be compassionate. Give them water, give them a warm place to be. I'm obviously biased because my dog is sitting right next to me on the couch. She is spoiled, but here we go. So I also want to tell you about safety in the winter, and this has to do with planning. And I get asked, I would say 50 to 100 questions per storm system coming through. I have to drive here, I have to drive there, I have to drive here, I have to drive there. The thing is I would love to be able to tell everybody, but I'm one person. I have a job outside of here, and this is more of like an awesome hobby that I'm really enjoying doing. So I need everyone to kind of take that responsibility into their own hands. I'll provide the forecast, but if you don't think you should be driving, then you probably shouldn't, kind of thing. I know some people have to go to work. I know it's inevitable. It's winter. This happens every year. Here's how you can plan ahead, though. A few days out, have emergency supplies ready to go. Make sure your car is good. Check your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. If you have a generator magic, make sure it's outside. Please do not run it in your garage. Carbon monoxide will build up in your garage and it will come into your home. And I have seen it kill people. In every single market that I've worked in, people have died because of improper generator use. So plan everything ahead. Now, the day before, that's when the forecast is getting serious. We're like, okay, cool. Unless I tell you otherwise, hey, there's a lot of uncertainty here. But for the most part, the day before, we got a pretty good idea. So that's when you should adjust plans, have multiple ways to receive warnings, have those phones charged. We typically don't lose power that much in winter. However, ice storms and really powerful storms can cause power outages. So, we'll let you know, but have a way to, of course, have that phone charged as well. And there you go again, bring pets indoors. During and after, that's when you should check on everyone, properly ventilate emergency heat sources and generators. Take it easy when shoveling because that's a big one. So, most of us have had our first snow already. Some of us will probably have it in the next couple of days, depending on when you're watching this. It is December 3rd right now when I'm recording this. It has a big impact. It's the first one of the year. It doesn't matter who you are. Don't feel bad if you don't remember quite how to drive. I have that problem too. I'm like, man, I'm used to going 60 everywhere. Now I gotta slow down to like 35 sometimes. It just happens. So another way to prepare for winter weather is have some non-perishable food items, because remember, you got to take everything into consideration here. If I tell you that there's going to be power outages, don't buy a bunch of food that's going to go bad or that you have to have electricity to cook and eat. If there's an ice storm, sorry, but you might be eating sandwiches. Like it's just part of what we deal with in Michigan sometimes. So just be smart, buy food that's appropriate. You don't need 4 shopping carts of food. I know blizzard snacks are fun, but you don't need that much food unless the world is ending or something. And here's something shovel smart. I was up north where we got almost 40 inches of snow over Thanksgiving weekend. My heart was pounding hard and I was like, whoa, I gotta start taking my own advice. I'm in my upper 30s, near 40 years old. I don't need a heart attack already. It's almost like lifting weights, especially if it's heavy wet snow. It's like lifting a 20-pound weight. And yeah, if you're not used to it, you can have a heart attack. So please be smart. And then, of course, thank you, like this man with the little ponytail thing. Thank you for removing the snow from your car, because I don't like driving down I-75, I-96, 131, whatever highways out there, and getting blasted with zero visibility because 2 feet of snow blew off the roof of someone's car. It's hard to reach. Yes, please try. It works in everyone's favor. Now, this was big because I've already seen it posted on Facebook that people are trying to get out on the ice. The ice just formed. It's new ice. Ice will be melting in the next coming days. You need 4 inches for ice fishing and walking, 5 inches for small groups, 6 to support an ATV or a snowmobile or an ice shanty that you're going to take out there. 9 can support a regular old car. If you have an electric car or a hybrid, your car weighs more. Go to the 12-inch section, right? Okay, so just please be safe. 2 inches, an inch. I saw someone post that there's an inch and a half of ice and they were out there ice fishing. Don't do that. You can fall through, and you know what an inch and a half of ice will do? Prevent you from coming back up to the surface. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. So, with that being said, snow the facts. Number 4. Official snowfall and snow depth measurements include snow, sleet, and ice pellets. It's all in one. So in the summer, hail from a thunderstorm will also be recorded as a trace of snow. Interesting stuff. Okay, we'll hear from my next sponsor, and I will be right back.
Does the weather have you feeling like it's time for a vacation? ITS Travel Services in Flushing is here to help. Whether you are looking to get away to a cottage in the Midwest or a cruise to the Bahamas, ITS Travel Services is here to serve you. The best part about using a travel agent? It doesn't cost you a single penny more than booking direct. Contact us today, 2489-834559, or visit www.itstravelservices.com to book your appointment. Does the weather have you...
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at Snow the Facts number 5. Did you know a blizzard can occur without falling snow? If wind speeds remain higher than 35 miles per hour and the visibility is also reduced to less than 1/4 of a mile for 3 hours or more, then it is classified as a blizzard. So what we can have are what we call ground blizzards, where we just blow the snow around, and that can create blizzard conditions. So we talked about that a little bit, just kind of some fun facts there for you. I'm going to hide myself again because we do need to talk about different kinds of precip. So notice the things that are shaded blue and the parts that are shaded orange. Blue is freezing or below, orange is above freezing. So here's how things work out. I want you to think of the atmosphere like a stack of pancakes, okay? Different pancakes can be different temperatures. So when they're all below freezing, that stack of pancakes will support snow falling. If one in the top area of your stack of pancakes is warm, you're going to melt the snow, And then as it falls into the other pancakes that are cold again, it's going to refreeze those little rain droplets, and that's when you get sleet. Sleet is those little balls, little ice pellets that come on down. Not to be confused with grapple, but to keep it simple, we'll just, call it sleet. Now, if you have multiple warm pancakes, but only the very bottom pancake on your plate is cold still, that's when you have liquid that freezes on contact when it hits anything in that bottom pancake. So things that exist in that bottom pancake of the atmosphere are trees, your house, your car, power lines, things like that. That is when freezing rain will occur. And then, of course, if all your pancakes are warm, guess what? You're going to have rain come on down, right? Now, here is lake effect. So you have the water, which is right above my head here. In this case, record warm this time of the year. Cold air moves over it, but you get that like steaming effect, right? I'm sure everyone has seen it. You have a pond or a river or a lake and it's super cold out. You see little steam coming off it, little fog. That happens on the Great Lakes, except on a much, much larger scale. All that steam starts to rise because warm air wants to go up, right? So you have cold air and then the warm air wants to go up and boom, you get lake effect. Now, when that warm air where we're creating snow moves over land, the warm source is cut off. The ground is cold. Where does all that moisture go? It's cooling back off. So think of like you have an area like this and there's moisture in it. You shrink it down, eventually the moisture can't go anywhere, right? So it falls out as snow. That's what happens over the Great Lakes with lake effect snow. We do get a little bit of this in Michigan, and that's why I'm showing it to you. It's called upslope snow, and this, plays a factor with some of our lake effect as well. We have areas in higher elevations that get a little bit more than areas that are lower down right next to the lake. One, because the water warms those areas up, and two, because we have additional cooling higher up, even if it's only a couple hundred feet. So areas of the UP, especially, the Huron Mountains west of Marquette, we see it there. We see it in the Keweenaw Peninsula. We see it in the Porcupine Mountains. We see it around Gaylord in northern lower Michigan because it is a few hundred feet higher than the lake surface. So just keep all that in mind. Now, when measuring snow, here's a cool thing. You should probably, of course, be smart about it, but you really need to get this measurement in a good spot. On your deck or near your house or under a tree is not a good spot. If anything, you can lay a board down all winter and measure on that. Maybe if you have some patio furniture that's away from your house or away from a tree, that's good. You should typically measure in 3 spots and then average them together, and then you can send your reports to me or to the National Weather Service. We're going to take a small break, and I'll be right back. Okay, and we are back, everyone. I do want to talk about winter climate trends because I started off this whole thing by saying climate change plays a role in this, right? So here's what I want to talk about with what has happened. This is not a forecast for the future. This is showing you what we have actually recorded with our weather instruments. Now, I do forecast for 5 regions in Michigan: Upper Peninsula, Northern Lower, Mid-Michigan, and the Thumb, West Michigan, Southeast Michigan. I think those regions are very distinctive based on, just the culture of Michigan. UP, Northern Lower, West, Mid-Michigan and the Thumb, and then Southeast. I think that's, about as good as it gets, really. So I'm going to start with Marquette. Labeled at the top here, these are temperatures over the 3-month period that is winter. Notice it is increasing, for sure. Last year, by far, record warmest by far. Let's take a look at snowfall for Marquette. Now, I do think there was some anomalies right there at the very beginning. I mean, it was obviously a while back, so I don't know, but just take it with a grain of salt. However, notice that trend increasing a little bit, but that's using a straight line. If I was going to do this over kind of a moving average, it would kind of look like a hump, right? You can kind of make that out with your mind. So we're definitely going to one day see a downward trend, especially in overall snow totals as the climate warms up. Gaylord, Northern Lower, definitely an uptick. Last year, by far record warmest, right? Let's continue on with snowfall. Kind of the same thing. I did put a straight line in there, but we would have like an overall arching trend if we were to average that out a little bit more. Grand Rapids, same thing. We've had some warm years in the past, but the most recent last couple of years, not really a fluke anymore. It's kind of, consistently warmer, as you can see. Grand Rapids snowfall. We, saw a little bit of an increase there, and then we're starting to fall off towards the end. Flint, this one, a little harder to pick out, but there is a little bit of an increase there for sure. This goes back to the early 1920s. And then, of course, the last couple of years, you can see right at the end, it's not just a fluke, it's becoming more and more frequent that we are having warmer conditions. So Flint's annual snowfall has overall gone up because we kept getting hit by these big storms. Remember, I was saying system snow? We're getting more of it, bigger storms, things like that. So Flint rarely gets lake effect, right? So these are really years that it got hit by storms, and there's a lot more storms frequently. Last year, obviously, way low because not much happened last year. Same thing with Detroit. We had some warmth and then, cooled off a little bit, have some warmth again. Overall, things are warming up. And in terms of snowfall, we have massive fluctuations as well, between 20 inches some years up to 70, 80, 90 inches other years. Overall, though, that's flat, if not starting to go onto a decline as well. So, with that being said, snow the facts number 6. A cubic foot of snow, so 12 inches on all sides of that cube, may contain between 1 and 2 million snowflakes. That's a lot of snowflakes. Okay, we'll be right back after my last sponsor.
Discover your next favorite story at Cottage Used Books, the heart of Goodrich since 2016. Our cozy bookstore offers a carefully curated collection of gently used books, perfect for every reader, at prices you'll love. We even have gently used jigsaw puzzles. Join us for all your reading needs, book clubs, and a warm, welcoming space where the magic of reading comes to life. Discover your next favorite.
Okay, everyone, thanks for hanging around. We're going to wrap this up with Snow the Facts number 7. One of the worst blizzards in Michigan history raged through January 26th and 27th of 1978. Snow totals were a whopping 30 inches in Muskegon, 19 inches in Lansing, and 19 inches in Grand Rapids. You might say, hey, we just had a lot more other areas. That was lake effect. This is from a storm system, which just makes it that much more incredible because a storm system has one pool of moisture to choose from, really, unless it sits somewhere forever. But the Great Lakes have a continuous supply of moisture, so therefore we get higher totals. Anyway, fun fact. Now, I do want to point out a few things to look out for. We're at the end of the thing here, but it's just important that this happens a lot around here in winter, especially when we start to melt the snow, which if you're watching this after my recording date right now of December 3rd, we're going to start to melt off some of that snow we got. When snow melts and you bring warmer air over it, you can get dense fog. And that is a hazard in the winter for sure. We've had numerous days of school canceled in the springtime because of melting snow and super thick, dense fog. So it happens. Also, watch out for rain with a temperature near freezing. You can get just bad visibility, slick spots out there, so just be extra, extra cautious. And this one is huge. Oh, this bothers me so much in the wintertime. The sun goes from being like up here in the summer to down here in the winter, right? Because the tilt of the earth wobbling back and forth. So the sun is super low. It beams right off that wet pavement into your eyeballs, and I don't like it. Sun glare is a huge hazard. It can cause accidents, and it has caused accidents. This one, flash freeze. This happened with the Christmas blizzard 2 years ago in 2022. We had snow melt on the pavement, but then those temperatures dropped to like 8 degrees, and we froze it all. So we melted because the ground was still warm, and then froze that melted layer, and we had a flash freeze, and it was bad. I mean, we're talking like, man, if I remember right, it was about a week before it warmed up to the point where salt can work again. Salt doesn't work below like 10 degrees, by the way, or 15 or something like that. So yeah, it was bad. Now, also, some of us haven't had our first major snow of the year yet. I think that will change in the next few days, but keep in mind, like I said in the beginning, first snow, you just need to slow down. Don't use cruise control. Leave that extra distance. I know it's annoying, but it's safety. We have to do it. Freezing drizzle. This is when it can slowly accumulate on your windshield. Even using windshield wipers, it's hard to see. Make sure you have your defroster on. It's nice and warm so you keep that water melted when it hits your car. Now, snow squalls. This is a big one because lake effect is snow squalls. But that's when you have zero visibility, and we've had pileups on I-94, 75, 131. Just be extra careful. And again, here's what a snow squall is. It's an intense burst of snow and wind, so lake effect, short duration, whiteout visibility, and it goes from like sunny and pretty to boom, right? So Be careful out there and look for that. Ice storms. This is a big one. Now, if we say an ice storm is coming, you have to prepare the outside of your home. You just have to. If you have branches, get rid of them. Furniture out there, just make sure that nothing can fall down and, cause an issue for you. So I just want to rehash really quick at the end my winter outlook. Here's what I look for when I make a winter outlook. El Nino or La Nina, are those impacting us? Climate data. What has happened before? What's going to happen in the future? What's the state of the climate going on in the whole world? I need to know these things, Weather patterns. Other big one, because El Nino and La Nina affect weather patterns as well. Historical data. Again, if we have a model that someone is going to share on social media, 40 inches of snow. Okay, has that ever happened before? From lake effect, sure. But has that ever happened from a single system? No, because I told you that the biggest one that ever happened was 30 inches in Muskegon, and that was likely lake enhanced with some lake effect in there. No. So if you see a crazy snow map floating around Facebook, you have to check yourself. Has this ever happened before? Is this person full of it? They probably are. They're probably trying to get you to click on it. So just be careful. And then, of course, the potential for extremes. Climate change is all about extremes. Extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme rain, extreme drought. What's going to happen? What is the possibility of something extreme happening here? So again, La Nina, I circled the last several La Ninas. Remember, we had 3 of them in a row in the early 2020s, pretty much during COVID. And then before that, we had a weak one in 2018 and a weak one in 2012. Generally, we had some obviously pretty warm conditions in 2012, and that was a La Nina year. Blue is the possibility of La Nina. Now, given the fact that we are in like NDJ, November, December, January, maybe even the start of December, January, February, we're still in the neutral phase technically. So this isn't really panning out for La Nina very well. At this point, I'm thinking that we either barely dip into La Nina conditions or we just stay neutral for the rest of the winter. Therefore, I'm not really considering it. Here's where we look for La Nina. The blob of white in the bottom left, that's Australia. The blob of white on the right-hand side is South America. So we're looking at the equator across the whole Pacific Ocean. A little bit of below average temperatures in there, but they're mixed in with above average temperatures. So, they kind of cancel out. We're not really looking at a whole lot. This is the typical La Nina pattern. I'm going to fly through it because, again, I don't think we're going to be influenced too much by it. I do think there's a possibility of being on the storm track this year, at least starting out. So we'll keep an eye on it. This means obviously things can get messy. We're talking rain to snow, flash freeze, all that fun stuff we just learned about. If we get a nor'easter, well, I think that could cause some northwest flow, even if we don't get the system snow from that. So we'll have to watch out for some lake effect events to come on through again. So just again, rehashing what you probably already know here. I'm going for warmer than average as a whole, wetter than average as a whole, less lake effect overall, more system snow overall. And again, this can change a little bit. This is to be taken with a grain of salt. So that's what we're looking at here. So we have reached the end of my winter outlook. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with Snow the Fact number 8. The White Hurricane of 1913 was the worst storm ever on the Great Lakes with little warning because it was 1913. We had 90-mile-per-hour winds, 35-foot waves. There were 19 shipwrecks, 19 more ships were stranded, 250 people were killed, 1 to 2 feet of snow with 4 to 6 foot drifts pretty much anywhere you look. So thank you so much, and thank you so much to all of my sponsors. Generator Magic, you will see them a lot. They have paid the premium, if you will, for the snow maps, and, well, we're going to get their name out there a lot. ITS Travel Services in the bottom right. Remember, it doesn't cost you a dime extra to use them. They will plan it for you, make suggestions for you. They are based out of Flushing. They were also my first advertiser to sign up, so they hold a little special place in my heart. Cottage Used Books, very friendly folks over in Goodrich. That is over by Grand Blanc, east of Flint. Cottage Used Books. They have some great deals going on. Great community little bookstore, so definitely check them out. Top left is The Lovely Designer. That's actually my sister-in-law on Etsy. You can check out The Lovely Designer. She does all kinds of artwork, calendars, things like that. And again, she does all the artwork. very talented. Check out her Etsy shop. Again, it is the lovely designer. Don't forget, if you want advanced looks at everything and really in-depth forecasts to explain what's going on, that's where my Patreon comes in. I go really hard into the finite details. I post 7-day forecasts on there. I post Northern Lights updates. I post some fun facts from around the country. I also do what I call a forecast roundup for most of the time, which is where it's just kind of like your weather news of the day. And I do that a couple times a week, so great place to sign up there. Again, Patreon, Brad Sugden Weather. This one is just a really fun one if you have a potty mouth like I do. I tell the forecast with a potty mouth. So, it's fun. There's a regular potty mouth version, and then since I am part of the LGBT community, I'm a gay guy, I have a little bit of gay sass in there as well. It's a different option. So the all-inclusive one is the gay LGBT option. If you just want me to drop an F-bomb every now and then, I'm a human being. You gotta have fun with this, right? I mean, so yeah, there's options there. Go explore. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all of my sponsors. Might be getting a couple more of them signed up here soon, but I just really appreciate everyone, and I want to let you know that. I do this outside of my full-time job, so if you don't see me posting for a couple of days, might be why. Feel free to message me and say, yo, post more or something like that. So just do it. Again, I love doing this. I have a degree. I am certified by the American Meteorological Society. I have my CBM, which is Certified Broadcast Meteorologist. So degree from Central Michigan University. I'm certified. You see my face and my name out there. Please beware of who you follow on social media. If you don't see their face, if you don't see their credentials, take it with a grain of salt, please. I'm just looking out for you here. That's it. So, thank you again. I hope we all learned a lot. Snow is fun. Snow is a lot of work. But I will put in the work. Please follow and support me. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I never thought leaving TV would be more successful than being in TV, but here we are. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that I really do appreciate you. Thanks.